It is a very, very tragic video we have to be making today because the Sacramento Kings got eliminated, and that means my favorite player, De'Aaron Fox, will not be in the playoffs. And my second favorite player, Chris Paul, was also eliminated. So it's going to be sad. I mean, my favorite team, the Phoenix Suns, is still in it, so I can't complain too much, but we'll probably lose to the Timberwolves. But anyways, we're back here with another video today, and this is the series where we recap a season, then we talk about what the team needs to do in the off season, and we just talk about a team in specific and go in depth because these teams that got eliminated early have a lot to do this off season, and their off season isn't going to be reliant on their draft pick like certain teams will do later after the draft lottery. So there's no point in talking about teams in the draft lottery that are desperate about their picks until we know where they're going to be selected. But yeah, today's video we got the Sacramento Kings. What a disappointing year. I mean, injury bug definitely killed you, but the worst thing for this team was the inconsistency. I mean, Sabonis was probably the most consistent player of the year. I mean, Sabonis had a great year. All-NBA second team minimum for me personally. Then you got De'Aaron Fox. He had a very up and down year. He started the year hot and then he cooled off, but he's my favorite player, so I could cut him some slack, but if we're being honest, he did not perform up to the expectations that a lot of us had for him this year. Harrison Barnes is getting up there in age. Kevin Huerter was awful this year. Very, very inconsistent. He could not throw it in the ocean most of the games. I mean, it was hard to watch him play basketball this year. Then you had Keegan Murray. He was very, very inconsistent, but towards the end of the year, he started to get hot, and he's going to be a good player going forward. I have no question about that in my mind. Keegan Murray is definitely going to be a cornerstone in the Sacramento Kings. Then you got Trey Lyles, Sasha Vincent. Oh, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name. Davon Mitchell and Keon Ellis. Those are two bright spots. Since this team, Sacramento Kings, were very defensively challenged, those two really helped. We're going to talk about those two more later in the video. And then, of course, we have to, everyone else doesn't really matter, in my personal opinion. But we have to talk about Malik Monk. Malik Monk is an unrestricted free agent. He's going to get a bag from someone. I do not know if he'll be back as a Sacramento King, and that was going to be very detrimental to this team. You have to sign and trade him. He's unrestricted, but still, you need to sign and trade him and get some value for him. Since I think Malik Monk can make $24 million this offseason because he is going to win Sixth Man of the Year. At least he should win Sixth Man of the Year. He's been electric. He has been the most consistent scorer this year, given the struggles Fox has been going through. I mean, Malik Monk was really the reason why the Kings won a lot of the games they won. And I do not expect him to be back in Sacramento this year just based on the amount of money he's going to be getting. Unless, of course, the Kings are able to trade Kevin Huerter, who's awful, and Harrison Barnes, who is old. But yeah. It's going to be tragic when you get the news that Malik Monk is gone. But yeah, I don't really know where Malik Monk's going to go. We'll know more towards the end of the season, but one thing's for sure. He's not going to be a King unless he takes a pay cut. But you know what? Now that we got over talking about that depression, I don't even know what to say. We're going to talk about two bright spots, Keon Ellis and Davon Mitchell. Davon Mitchell turned up after the All-Star break. I mean, his defense has never been in question. His nickname's Off Night for a reason. And since your favorite player will have an off night if he's guarding you, and that he still lives up to that nickname. But he actually started to play offense, and that is major. Now, if he can keep developing that, he will be very good going forward. But even better, Keon Ellis. He was at Alabama, I'm pretty sure. I mean, he was the biggest bright spot this season for the Sacramento Kings because if he can consistently shoot the three ball, he's your starting shooting guard for the next few years. I mean, he'll be a perfect complementary piece to Fox, Sabonis, and Keegan Murray. I mean, those three are the only three that I really think are going to be Kings long term. Keon Ellis shoots the ball. If he can shoot the ball, he's perfect. Since the Kings' problem is defense, he brings elite defense nightly. That's perfect for the Kings. He's going to be a big piece going forward for the Sacramento Kings. And yeah, but we do have to talk about who the Kings need to get. So I'm going to give you a few players that I think they need to get. I'm thinking if the Brooklyn Nets and Sacramento Kings could come to an agreement on a Mel Bridges deal, that would be the splash. That would be the biggest thing this offseason. I'd be very, very interested to see what Mel Bridges and Sacramento would look like. But there's also Herb Jones, but I don't really think that's realistic. There's a bunch of teams that really don't have great defense that they're willing to trade, since defense is hard to come by in this league. 76ers got some wings. The Heat got some wings. The Bulls. I mean, if you could get Alex Caruso from the Bulls, I would do that. I mean, 1 year on his deal. Get Alex Caruso and Javon Carter. That'd be great. But you really need a wing defender, and I think Mel Bridges or Herb Jones are really your best two targets. Now, is it really realistic? Probably not. But, I mean, the Kings do have their draft picks, except for this year's pick. But they got a 2025 first, 2026 first, 27, 28, 29, and 30. They got all their draft picks the next few years, except for this one. So, if I'm them, I'm looking to get Mel Bridges this offseason, personally. All right, that's just me. But, it'll probably cost you Kevin Huerter, which isn't really anything, if you ask me, and a bunch of picks. And maybe Davon Mitchell. I don't even know. I don't know if the Kings really have any young assets other than their draft capital. But the biggest thing to note is that you have Domantas Sabonis for the next 3 to 4 years. De'Aaron Fox has an extension kicking in. Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter are on somewhat tradable contracts. I mean, 18 mil for 2 for Harrison Barnes is kind of crazy, and 16 for Huerter is crazy. But if you can move those two, you could honestly get Mel Bridges this offseason. And I think that's the main focus for the Kings. And, yeah, they don't have a draft pick, but they do have draft capital. And, yeah, that's all I really have to say about the Kings. I mean, they just need to get defense. They need to have a more complete team, because their team's really reliant on De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, and Malik Monk's production this year. So if you're able to take some pressure off Sabonis and Fox and Malik Monk, I'm praying they can get Malik Monk back, but I just don't see how they can unless they move Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter, because they have no money at all. But if you could move those two, get Mel Bridges, re-sign Malik Monk, this team will be scary. But yeah, that's all I really got for y'all. There's not really much else to say other than, yeah, this season was awful for the Kings and a very disappointing, underachieving season. But they're in a loaded Western Conference, but they really do need to make a big splash this offseason if they want to compete. And that's what they're going to do, because their fans just got back into basketball, because it was very tragic for a while. Now it's not so tragic. So yeah, y'all have a good one. I hope you enjoyed. We'll be back for the next teams as soon as the first team gets eliminated, or whenever the draft lottery is. But yeah, y'all have a good one. Stay safe. Bye.